Hello everyone and welcome back to the Nerd Den here once again, and in today's video I have got a brand new installment of my Doctor Who Explained series where I look at various parts of the Whoniverse and explain all the fascinating parts of them and how they all work. And today I am very excited to be talking about Susan Foreman, yes, the Doctor's granddaughter, who very, very excitingly returned to the Whoniverse a couple of weeks ago, and it looks like she is going to be back in full force in this week's final episode. So with all that being said, let's get into the video and look at the history of Susan Foreman. Susan Foreman is the granddaughter of our favourite Time Lord, the Doctor. Susan was born and raised on Gallifrey, and after some time living there, the Doctor and Susan decided that they had had enough of living there and decided to steal a Type 40 TARDIS from one of the workshops located below the capital. As Susan entered the TARDIS, her grandfather was stopped by a mysterious woman, who advised him to steal another TARDIS instead. Despite it being faulty, the TARDIS would still take him where he needed to go. Shortly after, the Doctor and Susan embarked on their escape from Gallifrey. Sometime after, the Doctor and Susan arrived on Earth in 1963. The TARDIS was parked in an old junkyard on Totter's Lane. The junkyard, called Foreman's Yard, was the inspiration for Susan's last name. At some point during 1963, Susan began attending Coal Hill School, which was near the junkyard. During her time attending the school, she began to concern her two teachers, Ian Chesterton and Barbara Wright, due to her behaviour at the school. While she had vast knowledge of science and history, her knowledge of the present day was severely lacking. After getting Susan's home address from the school secretary, the two teachers followed her home, and instead of finding a house, they see Susan entering a junkyard. After entering the junkyard, they witness the Doctor entering his TARDIS, and the two teachers can hear Susan's voice inside. Ian and Barbara proceed to confront the Doctor before pushing past him to enter the TARDIS. And the rest is, well, it's history. The Doctor, Ian, Barbara and Susan travelled throughout time and space and went on various adventures. They met the Daleks for the first time, Marco Polo, the Sensorites and many other people and creatures throughout their adventures in time and space. However, in 1964, audiences said goodbye to the first ever Doctor Who companion, as Susan was left behind on a future Earth after a Dalek invasion. The reasoning behind her departure was because she fell in love with another human, David, which caused the Doctor to lock her outside of the TARDIS before saying goodbye. Before the TARDIS left, he promised that one day he would return for her. However, that never actually happened. Well, in the TV show, anyway. Despite this reunion never happening, Carol Ann Ford returned to the show during the 20th anniversary special, The Five Doctors, where she reunited with the first Doctor, who was this time played by Richard Herndl. However, she didn't have a big role to play and it didn't feel like a proper reunion. Apart from expanded media such as comics, Big Finish audios and comedy sketches, which aren't deemed canon, we haven't seen Susan since 1964. Now, that could be about to change. Susan appeared as an hallucination to stop the Doctor from dying in deep space during the events of the Interstellar Song Contest, and even protested with him to stop torturing one of the assailants of the attack. The Doctor questioned the memory of Susan appearing in his head, but seemingly dismissed it. However, with the psychic projection continuing to appear to him in the TV during the events of Wishworld, could a family reunion be on the cards? And could Susan be the key to stopping the Ranis, Conrad and Omega? So, with all that being said, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Doctor Who Explained. If you are new around here, please click that like button and subscribe, as we are on the road to 8,000 subscribers, which I would love to reach by the end of this week. But I'll see you all next time. Thank you very much for all the support, and goodbye for now.